In the world we live in, we have people looking to other beings other than God as gods. That's why they set up a Satan nativity scene in the Iowa State House. Also in the news, we have a car smashing into Biden's motorcade late last night. All of that and more on today's episode.
Facts over tracks, isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
In the world we live in today, we have people doing the most perverse things in pretending that it's good. But herein lies the problem. What is good and what's bad? For that answer, we have to look to a higher power. For Christians and Catholics, they look towards God or Jesus. For Muslims, they look towards Allah. For Jewish people, they look towards Moses and God, and so on and so forth. If there's one thing that all of these religions have in common, it's the fact that they know what's good and what's bad. They know worshipping a devil, no matter what context, especially the most well-known devil, Satan himself, is bad. That's especially true during a time that we are all celebrating the holidays in our own ways, whether it's Hanukkah for Jews or Christmas for Christians and Catholics. That leads up to the problem that we are facing last week. A Satan worshipping group brought in a Satan worshipping nativity scene and set it up right in the state capitol, right on the side of the actual one. You know, the one of Jesus being born. But that wasn't the worst part. Instead of the representatives in the state taking it down, or at least asking the group to remove it, they instead permitted it to stay there, just under one condition. The group removes the bull horns. That's pathetic. After that, the representatives say that they have a right to put it there, which is not true at all. They see something good, you know, the actual nativity scene at the Capitol, then they think that they must have their own, but in reality, they can't. And I'll tell you why. On one hand, we have something that's good, and on the other, we have something that's bad. Very bad. Secondly, do you think that openly worshipping a devil would lead to a flourishing society? Of course not. So it shouldn't be there. In our government buildings, they should be setting an example for what we, the people, should follow. Unlike what all of the libertarians think, the government can't stay out of this one. Look at our dollar bill. Any dollar bill. What do you see? You see, in God we trust. That means in God, we as a nation put our trust in you. This isn't just a slogan with no meaning. It means that we trust God to protect us and to lead us. That's what our forefathers fought for us to have. But not only fought for us to have, but also built it from the ground up that way. You have no right to a devil-worshipping nativity scene in a public state house, just as you do not have any right to take part in a sacrifice, a public sacrifice, either. The last time that I checked, Satanism does not count as a religion. That's not according to me, that's according to them. The definition of a religion is the pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. I say ask them, as a Satan-worshipping group, if you actually believe in Satan. Do you look up to Satan? What they say will shock you. Watch.
Reverend Richard Lale Lillard.
Hello, Anthony Padilla. How are you? It is an atheistic religion where we don't believe in God or gods or demons or angels. For the most part, there are some who do, but for the most part, we do not. We do, however, view ourselves as a god in our own world, that we are the creator of our own. By nature of things, been given the ability to create and to think for ourselves. And then, therefore, we become our own deity, our own God.
Exactly. They don't. And they would say this, and they would say it out in the open because they just don't believe in Satan. They use Satan as a mere tool to get Christians mad. They might not fit the definition of religion, so that means that they are not able to have their Satan-worshipping nativity scene at the state house. But on the other hand, the IRS says that they might. Luckily for us, the IRS doesn't dictate laws and morality. They instead charge us taxes for a living, but that's besides the point. This raises another question entirely. Just because there might hypothetically be a loophole that might hypothetically permit you to have the nativity scene in the public, that still would not mean that you have the moral right to do so. Now, you might be saying, well, the state doesn't dictate what you can and can't do and what morality it is, but that's where I will say that you're wrong and where the biggest difference between conservatives and libertarians lies. Libertarians will say that the state does not have any right to tell you what you can and can't do, but they ignore the state tells you when you can drink, when you can smoke, when you can drive, when you can open a business, aka have an EIN number, which is for tax reasons, when you can and can't file taxes, when you can apply for a credit card, when you can take a loan out for a house, when you can have a car. There are so many things that the state and cities tell us when we can and cannot do stuff. So why is this time any different? They're not saying that you can't Satan worship in your own privacy in your own home. They're merely saying that you cannot worship in the public state house. In that case, you have control over what you can and can't do in that public state house. You can't do whatever you want, whenever you want, without worrying about anybody else other than yourself. That's what brings people into atheism and Satanism. But the last time that I checked, there wasn't a country that lasted the test of time that didn't believe in a higher power to dictate what they should and should not do in their daily life. Now compare that to heaven, where you are living an eternal, fulfilling life with your family and friends, together as one group. Would you rather serve in heaven or reign in hell? I choose the former. With that being said, let's dig into the headlines of the week. So, because of the fact that this week obviously just started, we're going to start off with a couple of headlines that we did not get to last week. And a headline that actually came about this, or I should say yesterday. So, what we actually forgot to mention last week, or I think this broke over the weekend. I'm forgetting when stuff happened already. Actually, a senator responds to an accusation about a video that was recorded in the state house. Now, you might be wondering, okay, what actually happened here? Well, I'll tell you. Aiden Massey Surisky is a former legislative aide for the United States Senator Ben Cardin, Democrat from Maryland, who has released a statement responding to the accusations in two online controversies, one of which involves a graphic video that is being investigated by the United States Capitol Police. Cardin's office told Heavy in an email Saturday after the video went viral that Massey Suskoprisky is no longer working for the United States Senate, declining further comment. The first controversy involves accusations from Jewish Congressman Max Miller that Aiden Massey Suskoprisky was a staffer who confronted Miller in the Cannon's office building and said, quote, "Free Palestine." The second controversy involves accusations relating to a widely circulated video that appears to show a man having sex with another unidentified man in the State Judiciary Committee hearing room in Washington, D.C. Important hearings are conducted in that room. For example, FBI Director Christopher Wray recently appeared during an FBI oversight hearing, and a hearing on gun violence was held in that room. Heavy asked Cardin's office whether they deny that Massey Suskoprisky is the person in the video or is that person who made the comment to Miller, but they did not respond to that part specifically. They say, "We cannot confirm details regarding the people in the video. We are aware and looking into this, the United States Capitol Police." So the Capitol Police told us in the statement. Massey posted a response to his LinkedIn page saying that he is exploring, quote, legal options. Cardin's office told the Washington Examiner in a statement, quote, "We have seen media reports. As this is a personal matter and under review, we cannot comment on this further." Cardin chairs the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, according to the Examiner. The Washington Examiner also contacted the United States Capitol Police about the video showing, quote, explicitly sexual activity, and wrote that the Capitol Police responded, quote, "We are aware and looking into this." The Advocate also reported that the Capitol Police are investigating targeting the matter and contacted the Democratic State Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who did not respond to the site. Heavy has contacted Massey, but has not yet had a response. Massey once appeared in a campaign ad video for President Joe Biden, quote, "Thank you for including my son, Aiden Massey, in your thoughtful message to everyone who has supported you. He has worked tirelessly with the DNC of Virginia. Congratulations to all," his mother wrote on X, sharing the video and a post by Biden that reads, "From the bottom of my heart, thank you." Here's what you need to know. Aiden Massey wrote in the statement that he is being, quote, attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda and denied having a, quote, opportunity or cause to yell at or confront Congressman Max Miller. He says, "This has been a difficult time for me, and I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, Are these one of them? I love my job, and I would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to categorize my actions, otherwise, are fabricated, and I will be exploring what legal options I have available to me in those matters. As for the accusations regarding Congressman Max Meller, I have never seen the congressman, and I had no opportunity or cause to yell or confront him. In this common thread, some people defended Massey, while other people did not. Quote, there's limited evidence to verify the authenticity of the video. The video's origins is questionable, and all identifying characteristics are either blurred or observed, wrote one man, noting that it has not been proven that Massey is the man seen in the video. Quote, how shameful the idea of hiding behind the gay community to justify such an inappropriate action. I do a very similar job here in Italy as a gay man, and I am extremely horrified and disgusted by the lack of accountability in your words, wrote another. Heavy is not embedding or linking to the video because of its graphic nature. It is widely available on X. Yeah, and I saw it on X, and it's disturbing. Heavy has reached out to Cardin's office for comment by phone and email. Heavy also reached out to the Capitol Police in Massey through his LinkedIn page, asking whether he specifically denies being the man in the video and whether he denies saying, quote, free Palestine in a Canon office building. Heavy also asked whether he would like to make another further comment. Massey has an X page, but it only has a few political tweets, nothing about the controversies. Public records say that he is 24 years old and gave his full name as Aiden Santos Massey Surispi. Facebook pages in his name appear to be deleted. Heavy is not located on an Instagram page for Massey. A page in the name Eden Santos appears to be deleted. He also appears to have an adult content Reddit page in a name too graphic to reprint. It only has a single photo on it. Number 2, Congressman Max Miller has accused Aiden Massey of being a, quote, visibly shaken staffer who said free Palestine to him in front of the reporter of NBC News. A snapshot in the halls of the Hill. A House staffer just passed the GOP rep Max Miller, who is Jewish and has been supportive of sending aid to Israel, and said, quote, free Palestine. Pretty rare and stunning to see staff challenge members to their faces this way. The Washington Post Free Beacon interviewed Republican Congressman Max Miller and reported that Miller said that he was confronted by a staffer while speaking with NBC News reporter Ali outside of a coffee shop in the Canon office building. Quote, we were just having a casual conversation and out of nowhere, this guy beelines up to me, visibly shaking. He's very upset in my presence because he's a snowflake. I like that. Miller told the Free Beacon, and he just comes right back up to me and he says, and he was like, quote, free Palestine. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to give him a reaction because that's what he wants. Miller told the Free Beacon that Vidi was like, quote, wow, that was blatant anti-Semitism from a staffer, and you are a member of Congress. And I said, Ali, this happens to me every day, and I hope that you say something about it. The original story did not name the staffer. However, Miller later accused Massey of being the staffer in the interview with the Daily Caller. Miller confronted with the Daily Caller with the staffer's name is Aiden Massey, the Daily Caller reported. Okay, so now we have the reporter and him both saying that this happened, so more than likely it happened. The Daily Caller wrote in the Cardin's office responded, quote, are you sure you have the correct person? Having seen press reports, I understand that this was a House staffer. Also, the person you mentioned is much more than a junior than an LD. So perhaps there was a mix-up in the identification as well. Additional information would be of help. When the Daily Caller told Cardin's office that Miller had named Massey, quote, they did not respond. The Daily Caller reported of the confrontation with Miller. On December 13, Villani, the reporter from Daily Caller, wrote on X, snapshot from the halls of the Hill. A House staffer just passed by GOP rep Max Miller, who is Jewish and has been supportive of sending aid to Israel and said free Palestine. Pretty rare and stunning to see staff challenge members in the face this way. Her post did not name the staffer. Number 3, additional congressman wrote a post slamming Ben Cardin's office over the video, which reports say shows the judiciary room at the United States Senate. Quote, I am absolutely positive that the Senate will be announcing their bipartisan combination of the staffer having sex and filming it in the Senate committee room. Waiting, still waiting, buller, buller. The Daily Caller, a conservative site, first published a blurred out version of the video. In a story, the Daily Caller identified the room as the Senate Room Heart 216, the Judiciary Room. The room holds many important meetings, according to the United States Senate website. Republican Congressman Mike Collins wrote on X after the video started going viral, Cardin staff Wilden, making porn at work and yelling Free Palestine at a Jewish congressman. I have a question. How long would Cardin's filmmaker last in the Free Palestine? Exactly. This is exactly what I say. If these people that say Free Palestine and oh my God, we need to remove Israel out of the Middle East and let Palestine just be free at last. All of these people, do they realize that if they were to step foot in the free Palestine or Hamas, if they were to go into Hamas and say, hello, I would like to go into Gaza, they would say, hell no, and they would get killed. If they go into Afghanistan, they would get killed. We looked at all of the gay people that were being killed in Gaza. In my video, I will link it down below if you do want to see all of the gay people that were killed for being gay in the Middle East. Israel is the only country that you can be in the Middle East that you are not targeted for being gay. That's the only country. So what are we talking about here? It's just stupid right here. Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden also posted on X about the video. Although he did not name the staffer, I am absolutely positive that the Senate will be announcing their bipartisan combination of a staffer having sex and filming it in the Senate committee hearing room. This video's existence was first reported by the Spectator site. That site reported that it had discovered a Cardin staffer alternate but public X page. Quote, the images and videos are explicit and conspiracially and deliberately contain the staffer's face, the site wrote. In the story headlined, please stop taking nudes from the halls of Congress. The story said that one photo appears to be in a conference room in the Hart Senate office building where his boss's office is located, and used the Capitol Dome icon to cover his portion of the staffer's body. The article did not name the staffer. That's just, where is the respect for the history of the Capitol House when we have people having sex in it? It's just disgusting. The X page was in the name of Andre, but is now deleted. Screenshots from that X page include one that reads Happy Decadence. Saved photos from the page shows extremely graphic sexual content in the person's face is visible in them. Heavy has reviewed them, but is not linking the photos because they are so explicit. Thank you. However, Massey has been accused of by more conservative news sites for being the staffer in the video, such as Newsmax. Although the site did not give a source for the identification accusation, he was also accused of being the man in the video in the article by the Washington Examiner. Massey was also named as the person accused of being the person in the video by the LGBTQ Nation in the story that starts an explicit video of two men having sexual intercourse in the United States Senate hearing room has caused right-wing media and influencers to blame LGBTQRST people for the incident. The article says that the act of the video took place on an elevated hearing room table. Disgusting. Throw away the table and burn it. Heavy has not independently verified the video or the identify. Oh my God, I can't talk today. Or the identity of anyone in it. Aiden Massey worked on the immigration issues for Senator Dianne Feinstein as an intern before working for Senator Ben Cardin. This is the video that people are talking about that Joe Biden, they just link it. I'm not going to watch it. Massey has worked in the office of Cardin for 2 months as a legislative aide in the areas of foreign policy, tax, and trade, according to his LinkedIn page. Before that, he was a foreign policy legislative correspondent for Cardin for the 1 year and 7 months and a staff assistant for 8 months for Cardin. Starting in October 2021, he was previously a climate and energy fellow for Friends of Earth for 7 months. His LinkedIn page says, Massey's salary was just over $25,000 a year as a legislative correspondent, according to Legistorm. quote, engages with diverse coalition groups, includes various Native American tribes and dozens of congressional offices to analyze the effects of local pollution problems. His page says, authored research papers on the cyanosyphonic effects of drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge as part of a team that successfully lobbied for the cancellation of oil lease sales. Massey previously worked as an intern for the Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein in San Francisco, writing reports and briefs that she used in official releases, contacting federal immigration agencies and correspondents to, quote, appeal deportations and other rulings, and organizing archives. Number 5, Aidan Massey worked as a field organizer for the Democratic Party of Virginia and was a high school athlete in California. Massey worked as a field organizer for the Democratic Party of Virginia from August through November 2020, his LinkedIn page says. Quote, personally reunited a team of more than 400 volunteers in Loudoun County, Virginia, that conveys tens of thousands of Virginians and Pennsylvanians, he wrote, adding that he also spearheaded statewide Latino outreach through the Todos Con Biden program that registered hundreds of new voters and conveys over 3,000 Spanish-speaking Virginians, and managed the daily schedules and set weekly canvases and volunteer training goals for 9 college fellows. Massey also worked as a student fundraiser for Ruffalo Noel Ridich. His page says he was a Protect supervisor for, quote, Get Involved Palo Alto. Fascinating collaboration between high school interns and adult professionals. He graduated from the University of California, Berkeley with a BS in social. Okay, I just can't. A BS. He graduated with a BS. Oh, God. See, whatever BS means, we should just keep it as that. You graduated with a BS in debt. That's what you just graduated with. But in reality, he graduated with a Society and Environment and a GPA of 3.96 out of 4.0. He listed BS Society and Environment, July 2020, and honors. He was a research assistant at the University of California, Berkeley, and blah, 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 blah. And this article continues a little bit more, but okay. So the key takeaway is that somebody had sex in the state house, and it's just disgusting. We cannot have this happen again. This is just, we need to go back to a time where we had respect for the Capitol. We had respect for the history of the United States. We had respect for our fellow congressmen. We had respect for everybody around us. Instead, we have lost all that respect, and instead we're having sex in the state house. That's disgusting. With that being said, we do have one final article, though, and it happened late last night. So we actually can watch this moment. A car smashes into Biden's motorcade. So all this information that the Daily Wire gives us, we don't really need. All we need is a video from X. So here's a video here. So they're trying to ask Joe Biden a couple questions here, and then all of a sudden something horribly goes wrong, and then they try to force Biden into the the actual motorcade car, because for safety reasons. So watch this here.
Mr. President, why are you losing to Trump in the polls?
Yeah, you're reading the wrong poll. Yeah, that's funny. No, you're not. You're looking at the majority of the polls that's showing this case here. So let's continue. And then you hear the car crash in the background, and then they start pushing Joe Biden into the car here. And then Secret Service is trying to look around for the people listening to the audio version. I'm describing it. The media is trying to find out exactly what happened here. They're pushing the media. People we have the military over here. But then, I just don't know why they thought that this was going to be a good thing to. This guy has his hands up here. Now, this is obviously not a good situation to get yourself in at all. So I just don't know what he was trying to do. What was he trying to do here? He was not trying to go around them. He was trying to go through them. So that just doesn't make a lot of sense here. So for me, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. He probably didn't mean it on purpose. He probably meant it on accident. Obviously, you slammed your car into police cars, so that itself is a crime. Never mind when it's actually protecting the president of the United States. So, I mean, you can tell Joe Biden was already scared. He was like, what's going on? They were trying to force him into the car here. We have the military, trying to protect the president, because the last assassination attempt we had was a little while ago. So, yeah. I mean, this would not be a good day. I mean, as much as I disagree with Joe Biden, it would not be a good day if we had a president that was assassinated from a car crash. That's an embarrassment of the United States. So yeah, these people that are driving right now, and I can say this because I drive a lot for work. The people that are on the road right now are not paying attention. So if you can, really watch out to exactly what's going on, because people are not paying attention. They'll crash right into you, and they're going to be like, what? You crashed into me? No, it's the opposite, my buddy. It's the opposite. Start paying attention. So with that being said, we do have the media's takes.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Okay, moving into the next article, we actually have a CNN article. So we have, if this would load, that would be great. Just opening Twitter here. Okay, so United States warship responds to an attack on commercial ship in Red Sea. So along the Middle East, ships that are carrying goods for the United States that actually import 10% of our global, goods are being attacked by people in the Middle East because they do not like the United States right now. Obviously for political reasons, they're attacking the ship right here. Now, obviously, the United States had to step in eventually and say this cannot happen. You cannot attack ships that are carrying goods. That's not fair for the company that's responsible for the goods. And at the same exact time, it's not good for us, the people, to be suffering by having to pay more money for those very goods, because now the people that are steering the ship and the pilot of the ship, the captain of the ship, you need to pay more money because it's now a dangerous situation here. So obviously they needed to retaliate. This was bound to happen. The United States, the USS Convoy, responded Monday to a distress call from a commercial vessel after it was attacked by multiple projectiles in the southern Red Sea. A United States military official said the merchant One Atlantic was attacked at roughly 9 a.m. Santa time. The officials said more information regarding what kind of projectiles were launched and from where was not immediately available. Throughout the attack followed a string of others in recent. The merchant vessel Swan Atlantic was attacked at roughly 9 a.m. Santa time. The officials said more information regarding what kind of projectiles were launched and from where was not immediately available. Throughout the attack follows a string of others in recent days by Houthi forces who are funded by Iran on the commercial vessels in the Red Sea. The attack came as the United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is in the region for meetings with the Israeli officials in Tel Aviv. Amid ongoing violence between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi forces have been targeting commercial ships in the Red Sea, claiming the attacks are as a revenge against Israel. Oil giant BP announced Monday that it would pause all shipments through the Red Sea due to the deteriorating security situation, marking as a latest ship firm pauses routes through the channel. CNN has reported that the United States is considering beefing up protections of commercial ships around the vital shipping route. According to military officials with members of the Combined Maritime Forces, a multinational civil force charged with protecting commercial shipping in the Red Sea, the discussions about bolstering the task force reflect growing concern in the region over Iran-backed Houthis interference in the Red Sea which millions of barrels of oil pass daily. United States officials have said publicly that the discussions have centered on the possibility of escorting ships operating in the Red Sea and through the the Bab el Mabeb Strait into the Gulf of Aden, the narrow channel that separates Yemen and the Horn of Africa. On Saturday, the USS Convoy shot down 14 drones launched from the Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, according to the United States Central Command. The unmanned aircraft systems were assessed to be one-way attack drones that were shot down with no damage to ships in the area or reported injuries. CENTCOM posted on X on Saturday. Last month, the USS Thomas Hunter shot down multiple one-way attack drones launched by Yemen, and in another instance, 2 ballistic missiles that were fired from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen toward the USS Mason in the Gulf of Aden after it responded to a distress call from another commercial tanker who has come under attack by 5 armed individuals believed to be Somali. The United States has responded to the attacks in recent months by launching strikes in eastern Syria and Iraq, targeting weapons depots and storage facilities used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its proxy military groups. The story has been updated with additional information. So, what's the key takeaway in this? Don't mess with the United States, guys. Don't mess with the United States. I mean, we might look like it's a little bit weak in the military right this second because of the fact that a lot of people are sitting here saying, oh, I have 2 fathers, I have 3 fathers, whatever the heck. I don't really care. The military of the United States is the most powerful military in the world. Do you really want to sign up to get a one-on-one conflict with the United States? No, you don't. So the rest of the world, watch out. Watch out. This is a warning to the rest of the world here. Watch out for the United States. It's not a force to be messing around with. It's really not. Moving on to the next article, we actually have an NBC article. We have Congress has set itself up for a very stressful new year. December is usually a pretty stressful time in Washington. For years, Congress has spent the last few days before its Christmas recess scrambling to pass some kind of spending bill that will prevent a federal government shutdown. But for once, the halls of Capitol will be quiet, a little too quiet. That's because this year, Congress decided to put most of its to-do list until the new year. In doing so, lawmakers saved their precious vacation time. Oh boy, their precious vacation time. And the eyes of some conservatives prevented another mid-dash to spend money on our way out the door. But let's be real. All they've done is merely delay the dash. What awaits Congress after the holidays is a very, very stressful return to reality. I agree. But at the same exact time, because of your guys' policies in the Democratic Party, we have spending through the roof. We have Social Security taking up 55% of our yearly spend. We have Medicare. We have all of these things that we have to pay because of all of your policies. So because of that, we need to continue the funding for the United States. I mean, if we didn't have all of these systems and we weren't so socialist, then we would be dependent on ourselves to give us our own insurance. We have us to provide everybody more the ability to do stuff on their own, not with the government's help. Just like Reagan said, if somebody from the government is saying, hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you, run away. Just run away. You do not need their help. I do not need the government's help. Please and thank you. So with that being said, we do have another Daily Wire article. We have top Democrat senator demands border must be shut down. We are sold out. We are completely over capacity. Senator Joe Manchin expressed expression during an interview over the weekend about the continual worsening conditions on the United States southern border, saying that the United States lawmakers were getting closer to passing laws to stop a significant chunk of the illegal immigration. Manchin made the remarks during a Sunday interview with Jake Tapper on CNN's State of the Union while discussing negotiations between the Biden administration and the United States Senate. Quote, they understand that the border is broken, that glass ceiling has been broken, he said, and we've got to stop this dangerous immigration that is coming through our country from all over the world. Jake, things that we've never seen in numbers have never seen like this. The whole world is in a flux, and they're taking advantage of a system that is truly broken. He continued, and this is not immigration reform. They're basically working deliberately on just setting the border. It must be done. It must be shut down. Manchin said that the threshold needed to be raised considerably as far as the definition of asylum. Quote, you can't come here and say, someone threatened me and I've got to come to your country, he continued. You've got to show me proof. And have proof of this type of a threat to you and your family is basically untenable. And you cannot live in those conditions. That's going to change under the low bar right now. Jake, when everyone has been adjudicated, let's just say that there's 100 people adjudicated, less than 15 qualify with the lower definition of just saying someone threatened me. Can you imagine if we raise it to a more credible high number? That will be really be more difficult and do the job that the asylum is supposed to do and what it's done in the past. That's what we're working towards. Quote, and basically thousands and thousands of people have disappeared throughout the country. It'll give us time to basically make sure that we can adjudicate them faster. And those who come for the wrong reason or just come in for basically because the relaxed rules that we've had, we can more stringently enforce that too. He continued, but you have to stop the influx of people coming to and the incentive for people coming from all over the world into the country. It's very, very dangerous, very dangerous. And I think that you've seen the numbers in the countries they're coming from. I have seen them. I'm very much concerned, and it has to stop now. We're sold out, he later added. We're over capacity right now, and we have to control this. And I completely agree. So, I mean, this is actually one of the times that I actually agree with Chuck Schumer because of the fact that he's actually really right. So we need to shut down the border. Thank you for actually coming to the same exact consensus that us, the Republicans, have been in for years. We needed to close the border forever. And now you're just coming to the realization? No, I knew this as soon as Joe Biden took office because that's when the influx first happened. So with that being said, we do have another article. We have Hillary Clinton to take a larger role in Biden's re-election campaign, and even Democrats are laughing. Now, I don't even need to read the article. I already think that this is a really good idea. I think that Hillary Clinton should have her crummy little hands all over the Joe Biden campaign because that will make him lose. Because she lost in 2016 against President Trump. So if she has her crummy little hands all over the election this time, then Joe Biden will lose again. So please, Hillary, come right in. I invite you to take a hand-in-hand approach with Joe Biden and his campaign. I appreciate your support. So with that being said, we do have another article right here from Breitbart. We have Kanye West unleashes another anti-Semitic tirade after Las Vegas show. So Ye, the rapper, formerly known as Kanye West, went on another anti-Semitic rant in Las Vegas early on Friday morning with numerous media reports and footage taken from fans confirming his diatribe. West, who obtained the title Anti-Semite of the Year in 2022 by the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, claimed the Rothschilds and Zionists secretly ran the schools and hospitals in the tirade delivered at a Las Vegas hotel. The 46-year-old also complained that the struggles of co-parenting with his wife Kim Kardashian about former President Donald Trump and West's ex-business partners in a 10-minute long rant. At one point, the video widely circulated on social media and obtained by TMZ. West screamed, "It's 60 million of us in America, 60 million Jews around the world." In one of the rambling conspiracies aired, West said, quote, "America is the latest bitch that's been ran through so many times. The Greeks hit her, hit her, and had her, the Indians and SHIT and the mother effers, pilgrims, it's the Jewish NI word. They dress the same NI word and N-word. It's the same SHIT. They put us in school. The Rothschilds, that did that. We've got the hospitals, the Zionists, N-word, Jesus Christ, Hitler, ye, third party sponsor that. Bring your sponsorships to that," he said. "I don't give a F, N-word. I don't give an F about life or death. I've got vaccination with my kids. I've got no say so." West further referenced his initial comments on education, accusing those around him of all, quote, having your kids in that Zionist school, At another point in the footage, he told people in the crowd to shut up if they tried to speak over him and threatened to kick someone out of the room. Las Vegas police confirmed that they disbanded West's rave in hours before the ramp because the event was unlicensed. According to the police, officers assisted Clark County with disappearing 200 to 300 people at an unlicensed gathering on Thursday night. Attendees had paid $2,000 per ticket to be part of a, quote, warehouse concert and new album preview. You can see the rave in full detail. West has a long history of delivering anti-Semitic remarks. I already see this. At one point, West claims that he lost $2 billion in one day following his series of anti-Semitic comments. So, again, he doesn't know how to shut his mouth. It's the same exact situation over and over again. He just does not know how to stop talking. He really doesn't. With that being said, we do have the final article from the Federalist. We have 26 states that banned therapy for LGBT people up to suicide risks. It's not what you think. Keep watching. Every study published since 2009 on therapy of people struggling with sexual orientation used the same major scientific flaw, says researchers. Last week, the United States Supreme Court refused to hear a challenge to 26 state laws, at least partially based on studies claiming, quote, conversion therapy increases LGBT American suicide risks. Yet every existing study that makes this claim is seriously scientifically unsound, several research reviews recently found. Not only do these studies depend on unscientific methods, but the data from one highly credited such study actually shows the opposite of what its authors claim, says a sociologist who reran the study data with standard scientific controls the authors admitted. Quote, the evidence shows that the SOCE, sexual orientation change efforts, is fairly effective at preventing suicide attempts, said Paul Solons, a researcher professor at Catholic University and senior researcher for the Ruth Institute. In a press conference released on Friday, these majority flawed studies have boosted effects to ban therapists from helping distressed people across the United States and the world. According to Solons, some 20 states of the District of Columbia ban therapists from helping people struggling to resolve homosexuality desires or gender dysphoria. 6 states partially ban such therapy. That means in those states, therapists may only nudge children toward rather than help prevent transgender mutilation. Last week, Republican-appointed Justices John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Neil Gorsuch joined the court's leftists in refusing to resolve a circuit court split over whether states can punish therapists who talk to willing clients about unwanted sexual attractions and gender dysphoria. Barrett also voted to let stand a lower court decision striking laws against children attending transvestite shows. Every study published since 2009 on therapy for people struggling with sexual orientation distress used the same major scientific flaw Summons identified in a 2020 paper. Christopher Rosrick, a psychologist at Frisco Pacific University, found in 2022 with a research review, all failed to control for suicidal thoughts and actions LGBT people expressed before they went to conversion therapy. These studies claim conversion therapy caused LGBT study participants to have more suicidal thoughts and attempts, but not one separated the suicidal thoughts and attempts that occurred before starting therapy. It's not only logically impossible, but scientifically invalid to say something that came after a first thing caused the first thing. But that's every single one of these studies. That's what every single one of the studies did. Failing to control for pre-existing suicidal distress among LGBT people before they went to therapy led to a false but widely publicized claim that conversion therapy causes suicide. But when he reran the numbers with proper controls, Solons found 2/3 of the LGBT participants' suicidal thoughts and attempts in the early 2020 study happened before they went to therapy for help with their sexual orientation. This means that therapy couldn't have caused the majority of LGBT people's suicidal thoughts or attempts because most happened before therapy. In fact, when Solons controlled for pre-therapy suicidal behavior, he found that, quote, conversion therapy actually reduced suicidal attempts and ideations by up to 80%. That means that he found the opposite of what the study authors claimed using their own data. If therapy doesn't reduce suicidal thoughts and attempts, These talk therapy bans and the Supreme Court refusal to end them enable higher risk and distress and self-harm for LGBT Americans. The reaction to Salmon's 2020 published findings, which continues, included respondents insisting on retaliation because the findings could endanger queer legal privileges. Amid that debate, Roserick and Salmons wrote that the studies claiming to find sexual orientation change efforts increase suicidal risk also only include self-identified LGBT people, which includes people with the similar attractions who do not identify as LGBTQ. This 2020 Bosnich et al. Study is an elaborate falsehood. Salmons said in a press conference, quote, "I do not want to say that their study was fraudulent, but it was purposely ignored the scientific standards of evidence to point to a causation with regard to SOCE, sexual orientation change efforts, harm. The social scientists are the hardest hit by the replication crisis affecting every domain of allegedly scientific research. Today, replicating a study more often than not does not yield the same results, at least partially because science has become a tool for advancing politics. That's exactly what these studies appear to be, tools for advancing politics rather than attempts to find the truth." In his 2022 review, The Replication of the Bolsonich Study, Salmons writes, quote, "A disturbing feature of this research is that, at least for some, including Bolsonich." In his 2022 review, The Replication of the Bolsonich Study, Salmons writes, "A disturbing feature of his research is that, at least for some, including Bolsonich 2020 study, the choice to ignore time, order, and attributing causation was not inadvertent, but intentional." He notes that several authors of these flawed studies publicly stated their awareness of the difference between pre-therapy distress and post-therapy distress, yet still failed to distinguish between the two in their studies. Next, Salmons looked at the 4 most recent studies in the American Physiological Association and UK Government Equities Office cited when publicly supporting bans on the therapists helping people with unwanted sex change attractions. All 4 of these studies made the same error as Bolsonich, failing to control the suicidal thoughts and attempts that occurred before starting therapy. Salmons noted major queer organizations use these scientifically incompetent studies to push these therapy bans. He quoted as an example Salman Price Minter, an attorney for the National Center for Lesbian Rights, which defended Washington's state therapy ban and the Supreme Court refused to review. In a press release celebrating the Supreme Court's refusal to secure therapists and their willing clients' free speech rights, Minter said, "Every major medical and mental health association in the country has warned the conversion therapy is unnecessary, ineffective, and harmful. This is why nearly half of the states in the country have enacted laws to protect youth and their families from these serious harms." Quote, now that a patient's false claim, Salmons responded, "It's true that this study reported that, but the result is a false, misleading, and outrageous kind of science." And I completely agree. Because if you're going to sit here and you're going to say, oh, well, all of these people committed suicide. Okay, so let's look at their history. Let's look if they were depressed before. Let's look if they were depressed after. Let's have a control group of the people that are not suffering through this mental health disorders. Let's control every aspect, or let's see every single aspect of this to make sure that we're coming across the right conclusion here. But instead, we're going to sit here and we're going to say, well, it's because of you. No, it's not because of these people. It's because of the fact that they had these ideologies before and these perversions beforehand. And now all of a sudden we're sitting here, we're saying, okay, well, you're responsible for it. No, that does not make any sense. They had this stuff beforehand. God, it's so easy to actually understand exactly what is going wrong with these studies, but of course, with an IQ of the average IQ of about 10, people don't actually understand what's going on in front of their face. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this episode of the Demetrius Arijo Show. If you do want to support me, check out shop.arijostudios.com and use code TRUTH for 15% off everything. And of course, everything's made in America and free shipping on everything if you live in the United States. With that being said, thank you all for watching, thank you all for enjoying, and I hope that you liked this episode. If you did like this episode, please like and subscribe down below because I do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Everything you saw on the show is copyright Arijo Studios 2023. Thank you all for watching, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.